A very good morning to you. How are you doing? Welcome to another beautiful Thursday morning. If it's Thursday, you know, ni siku ya clinic, relationship clinic. Kama kawaida, bench nimeweka hapo nje, nimeipanguza, nimeisanitize. I've even put stickers for you so that you sit 1.5 meters away from each other. But welcome to today's show. One challenge that a lot of marriages face, it's the problem of in-laws. When in-laws become part of the marriage and part of the decision-making process in the marriage, it can become a disaster, a huge disaster. Some people don't know whether to call them in-laws or outlaws. It's one of those things. So how do you deal with in-laws? How do you begin to create healthy relationships with your in-laws? Whether it is your mother or father-in-law or in love, as we call them today, or all those uncles who like to come to visit. You know those uncles who come visiting without notice? And then they don't tell you how long they are staying. But because huyu ni mjomba, alinilipia school fees, he ends up staying with you guys for 2 months. And your wife is just thinking, I want to pull out my hairs. This guy needs to go. We need our space. And it becomes one major issue. How do you deal with all that? That's the discussion we are going to be having today. I will be introducing to you our guest for today in the next short while. And as always, inviting you to be a part of this conversation. SMSs 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. It is the Relationship Clinic. And today we are looking at the whole aspect of dealing with your in-laws. How do you flow with them? How do you have a relationship that is thriving with your in-laws? Joining us today in studio via Zoom, we have a counseling psychologist, Gregory Maura. Gregory, how are you doing? Hi, Sikupati. You're on mute.
Fine, thank you.
Good to have you with us this morning. Karibu sana. Even though you're on that side, you're still in the studio.
Appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And very delighted.
Awesome. So this whole conversation about in-laws, I'm just wondering, at what point do you begin building a relationship with your in-laws? Do you wait until you're married, or can you actually start building a relationship with them before, once you get to that place where you're engaged and you know you're getting married? Is that the right time? Ama ungoje mpaka useme I do, uvuke boda, ndio uanze hiyo relationship?
Thank you so much. Marriage is a process, and before the culmination of the event, there has to be an introduction of whoever I want to marry, because I have narrowed down that I want to marry this particular lady, or want to be married by this particular gentleman.
Yeah.
It's very, very important, because in the African setting, marriage does not belong to one person. It belongs to the community. So it is very, very important for me to introduce them. For me to introduce my spouse, i.e. To different individuals, my brothers, my sisters, my aunties, my uncles. And whenever we are preparing people for marriage, I actually advocate for premarital counseling way before you announce your wedding in church, before you actually do all this.
Yeah.
For you to be prepared on some of the dynamics that you'll be dealing with. Because for a functional marriage to be there, for this particular process to be very, very good, you have to be, first of all, functional as an individual. What am I looking at functional as an individual? You have, first of all, differentiated. Differentiation means I have found myself from my parents and from my sibling. I have my own space that I call my space. And this space has 7 dimensions. Allow me to say them.
Okay.
One is a physical self, that I have matured and I have accepted myself unconditionally. I am tender to myself and I regard myself unconditionally. That is my first point. The second point is economically.
Yeah.
I have to ensure that before I go in this particular marriage, I have my source of money. I have my money that I call mine. Because these particular individuals who will be dealing with the in-laws, one of the aspects you be vulnerable to them is economically.
Yeah.
If they support your marriage economically, you'll not have a say. You'll not be able to deal with them. Another very important thing is emotionally. I must have matured emotionally to differentiate between my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my auntie, and the way I relate with them emotionally.
Yeah.
I must have matured enough to be able to have a no and a yes, and possibly to demarcate, this is me and this is you guys. That's very, very important. Spiritually is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because marriage in itself it has a spiritual angle. I have to mature, to have matured spiritually for me to know now when we become one, we will have to decide whether we are seeing our young people or our people coming in and deciding you are from this church, I'm from this part, this particular church. I don't want to feel that I'm losing. Can we get a neutral place where we can be?
Yeah.
You have to have matured spiritually. Also, you must have matured morally and ethically, i.e., it would not be a marriage of my mother. It would not be a marriage of my father dealt with his in-laws like this. No, it will be I as a person. These are the values and the principles that I have ascribed to because I want to have a functional, relational family, a marriage. That is. So for me, this is very important. Another very important thing, having your own frame of reference, having your own mind. You have analytical skills. You have cognitive skills that will actually make you make a decision as me.
Yeah.
Then as me, we can make a decision as me and my wife. Before other people come in and flash us with their opinions and with their thoughts, we can actually sit down. I can make a decision and follow it to the letter. We can make a decision, me and my wife, and we follow it to the letter without really influence from the other people. So for me, I'm looking at somebody who is first of all functional, to differentiate and you have found yourself and you have a piece you can give your wife and you have a piece that can accompany your in-laws to you formulating a functional, effective family. Thank you so much.
Wow.
So those are the attributes of a functioning, effective person that should actually get into the marriage to be able to deal with the pressure. One pressure being the in-laws.
Yeah.
The principle of a functioning marriage, one is functionability. As a person, I am functional as a person.
Yes.
I'm not a problem to myself, so I will not be a problem to my partner and to the in-laws.
Yes.
Because these particular in-laws will pressure on you. So if you have not found yourself, if you're not functional enough, believe me, you will not be able to deal with them because they will manipulate you. They will actually reach out on you. There will be all sorts of things. So within organizing the marriage, you'll actually realize that this particular marriage, you have to stamp your authority as a couple. This is us, this is you guys. We want a marriage like this. This is what we can afford because we don't want death afterwards. The way we'll name our children, there has to be individuals who are functional. That is my first point. The second point is communication. Kindly, as a couple, I have differentiated. I have my own mind. I have my own feelings. I'm functional. So I have to summon myself to be able to agree and to disagree with my spouse. With my spouse. When I can agree and disagree with my spouse in terms of communication, it has to be true and it has to be vulnerable. Because if I hide some things to my spouse, believe you me, we will be manipulated. We will be manipulated. And this particular communication, how do we communicate between us and how do we communicate with our in-laws? I.e., in my marriage, when my mom from the other side, from my wife's side, wants to communicate something to my wife, I allow them space. But if there is some engagement I have to engage in, it is me who communicates back, because we have to communicate oneness. When you are negotiating your marriage, you have to negotiate a boundary, which is my third principle. Without boundaries in a marriage, believe you me, couples, you are loitering. Because in-laws will come, your friends will come, everybody will come. You guys, you are in a bottomless pit if there is no clear boundary. They will have their opinion and they will express themselves.
I was just wondering, and I love what you're saying. Who should communicate? I know you're supposed to communicate as a unit, but you know, supposing now it's my wife's family is giving us pressure concerning A, B, C, and D. How do we handle that? Who should communicate? Because sometimes if I communicate, it seems like I'm the bad one who was refusing. Or if it's pressure coming from my family's side and my wife is communicating, it seems like, huyu mwanamke ni kichwa ngumu. You know, so I love that we're talking about boundaries. So when it comes to those communication boundaries, how do we set them so that we are all on the same page?
My principle is to always ask the couples to sort their houses first. When it comes to my parents, my biological parents, it is me to sort them. It is not my wife to sort them. It is me who is their son. It is me to communicate to them, Mom, thank you so much. You gave birth to me. I have matured enough. And now I have my own family. Because it is a business, it is my business to protect my wife from the pressure from my in-laws, from my side. It is my wife's responsibility to actually make sure that her marriage is not destroyed by where the people she's coming, where she's coming from. Because if we don't do this, believe you me, we will have a bad picture. A bad picture. When I go to the other side, they will be looking at me as a person controlling the marriage. But when I am able to sort my own brother, I'm able to sort my own uncle, I'm able to sort my own mother and my own father, against interfering with my marriage, I will not be looked at as the bad one. Actually, they will realize the only way they have is actually to treat us as a unit. Same case happens to the other side. When my wife is able to sort people from her side, nicely in terms of every aspect of it, may it be monetary, may it be how we will raise our children, how we will name our children, what is their involvement, you know, how can they summon us, how they can call us. You know, they have to make sure that whenever they are communicating, they're communicating to mature people who have their schedule in place. Don't wake up one day and we are called by mom and dad. No, it's not an emergency. We really need to operate as a self-sustaining organization. Because for me, you have to negotiate boundary. And how is boundary negotiated? After meeting, after the introduction to the parents. Kindly, you have now to start really negotiating your boundaries. You have to create some space. You know, this space has to be created for your husband to fit in. When we are studying marriage and family, we actually say there is the couple subsystem. Which is the first system in a marriage. The couple subsystem. We people who are in the outside, we need to see one unit. But you couples who are inside, you need to know you are unique individuals with different capabilities to harness each other and to cooperate and complement each other, not to compete. If you compete, you will actually disintegrate the marriage. But you're there to cooperate one another and to complement each other. Because in doing so, the marriage is able to become more integrated and it's able to negotiate its different stages. Because honestly, marriage has a stage. If my mother's marriage is towards the end of the marriage cycle, my marriage is less than 10 years, is within a certain level. There is the things that I should be doing. Even the in-laws here and now, they have different levels of manipulation. As you grow older, the in-laws have also the intensity of manipulation can either be increasing or decreasing. But essentially it should be decreasing from the word go. But if you find that your marriage is there and the interference from the outside is actually increasing, question the principles on your marriage.
Before we listen to some music, I love what you've brought out, because sometimes they're unexpected and uncommunicated expectations. You know, you've talked about setting boundaries. Once all these introductions have begun, we need to start setting boundaries. But I find that a good number of people get into the marriage and you don't set those boundaries. You never actually talk about them. And so you get frustrated with your spouse because you're expecting them to do something that you did not agree on and you did not communicate and agree on together. So talk to us a bit about that, because I think it's an important issue that sometimes we just leave out there to chance.
When individuals meet, and why we stress on premarital counseling way before people announce their marriage is because we will do panel beating. And panel beating is serious, especially at this particular level. Why? I want to go back to your childhood experiences. I want to know, how is your setting? How is your configuration? Are you really fit for a marriage? Are you really, really functional? Because as a woman, if you are abused as a woman, believe you me, you have not healed. I'm looking at this particular person and really going deeper in terms of functionability.
Yeah.
If you're really not functional as a person, believe me, it will be chaotic. What are our expectations? I actually tell couples when they're actually coming up, what are the levels of intimacy that you have in this particular marriage? The first level of intimacy in this particular marriage, in terms of expectation, is the physical presentation of your partner.
Yeah.
If you actually fall in love with light guys, kindly don't compromise. It will be an issue.
Yes.
It will be an issue. If you like, as a man, you like short, a bit curvy woman, kindly go for that. Don't compromise.
Yes.
Because it will be an issue. I was not expecting you. I don't know where you came from. Those words should never come out of you.
Wow.
That is one.
Yeah.
The second thing is cognitive intimacy.
Yeah.
Is this particular person a friend? Can you have a meeting of the mind? Because so many people right now cannot enjoy an intellectual joke.
Yes.
Why? You are totally on different spectrum of your lives. So you need necessarily to have key competence in terms of your cognition. Can you have cognitive intimacy? Your thinking. Can you agree to disagree as mature people?
Yes.
Not to disagree and like possibly babies in terms. I even respect babies because you really need to be mature enough.
Yeah.
That is another very important thing. Emotionally intimacy, i.e., can I agree to be vulnerable to you?
Yeah.
Can I start a business? It fails, and I come and tell you, hey, my wife, I have started a business. It has gone haywire. Very, very important for us to not know, you are not supporting me emotionally. I'm going through this. I can actually share my true self without thinking that at some point you will hit back on me. When I tell you maybe I was in another relationship, basically communicate who you are authentically. Because if you cannot do that, it will be crazy.
Wow.
Social expectation. Can you have social intimacy? How do you relate with your friends? How do you relate with everybody in your circle? In that, when you're bringing this particular person will actually know how to relate with them with decorum and respect.
Yes.
How, when I'm with my wife, am I able to introduce her? How does she want to be introduced? I come from the Kikuyu community where we say, these are my people. How do you want to be introduced?
Yes.
Do you want to say? How do you want to be introduced? This is my wife or this is my girlfriend. Kindly let it be clear. Share yourself. Share your authentic self.
Okay.
And be sure that this particular person is able to accommodate you for who you are. They have the capacity. They don't feel threatened economically. Can you cut your coat according to your size?
Yeah.
Because believe you me, in the marriage, something we don't discuss is power struggle.
Yes.
There is power struggle in a marriage.
Yeah.
Who will make the better decision? Who has to make this particular decision? Yes, we live in a patriarchy society, but believe you me, the current woman is so empowered.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them are making more money, and that is why you're seeing we are not able to actually do this stuff.
Wow.
So it is actually very, very, very important to actually come up.
Okay.
How will we share? What are we bringing here?
Okay. Now, shortly,
For us not to have it.
Shortly, we'll talk about that whole economic aspect, because sometimes that becomes a big issue where the in-laws are concerned. It seems like you're favoring your side and you're ignoring my side. Remember, you are listening to and watching The Relationship Clinic. We are talking about how to deal or how to thrive in your relationship with your in-laws. Siku hizi nasikia wanaitwa in love, even though sometimes the love is missing. It's just for sure. Questions, thoughts, 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. It is The Relationship Clinic. We are talking about your in-laws and how to build a better relationship with them. Joining us in the studio via Zoom, we have a counseling psychologist, Gregory Moura, is with us. Now, Gregory, the whole economic aspect sometimes becomes a big challenge, because by the time the two of us were meeting, I was already supporting my parents, or maybe I was paying my brother's school fees. And now we get married, and I want to continue with that, or probably I'm continuing with that and I never even communicated about it. So when my spouse gets to know about it, it becomes an issue, because sasa inakuwa wewe una support watu wa kwenyu, lakini mimi mama yangu akitaka hata sukari unasemaga hauna pesa. How do you navigate through that? How do you deal with that?
Good. Within the process of dating, this is when you have narrowed down, you have known that possibly this particular person, I want to be married way before the introduction to the parents and what have you.
Yeah.
This is the bit that is done on dating. Kindly, can I know you?
Yeah.
And I need to know you from every aspect. One is economically.
Yeah.
Kindly, let's not beat throughout the bush. Kenya is a capitalist society. And this capitalist society, we are meeting with people who have commitments. We are meeting with people who have maybe loans.
Yeah.
We are meeting with people who have their responsibility. Can people kindly share their own responsibilities way before? Me, I say, in this particular relationship, nobody is doing each other a favor. We are here to accompany each other so that we can experience ourselves through this marriage as a father, as a mother, as a companion to someone. Nobody is doing each other a favor. So that is why this account is actually empty, and we have to work 100%. I work 100%, my wife works 100%.
Yeah.
So can people be true to who they are? Just know whether there is a car loan, whether your spouse is actually educating his children, the sibling, how does he or she support the family? For me, it's very, very important to actually know the birth order of your spouse.
Okay.
The firstborns at great extent will actually take the bigger responsibility for the family of origin.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a firstborn in my own family. My father is not there. So being the firstborn in that particular family, I have to create time for them. I have to consult with my mother. I have to consult with my brother.
Yeah.
My wife also on the other side, she's a firstborn in a family of 6.
Yes.
So she has to create time to actually give the family of origin time. So when it comes to economy, can we actually open up and really share? How do we get our money? How are we in terms of which business we are in?
Yeah.
What do we expect? What are the responsibilities that we have? Because failure to do this, guys, especially women, you actually sugarcoat things, and you don't really want to ask those hard questions. You have to ask those hard questions. I share this. Whatever has kept KICC for those many years is the foundation.
Yes.
The foundation of a marriage is actually very, very important. You start it on a faulty foundation, utangangana na matokeo.
Yeah.
You will lead. You will actually be so much challenged within the lifespan of that particular marriage. And I share this. I married at 30. Suppose God give me 70 years. I will live with my wife for another 40 good years.
Yeah.
So believe you me, I needed to be ruthless. Kindly be ruthless with yourself as a person if you've not really gotten into marriage, for you to ask those hard questions. That is one. 2, you have to negotiate as partners. What do you want to commit into the marriage? Because I'm earning $1 million.
Yes.
And if I'm earning $1 million, what is this that I want to bring here? And when I bring this money here, it fails to be mine. It stops to be mine. It becomes a family fund.
Wow.
If my wife is earning 10,000 and she brings in 7,000, it ceases to be her money. It becomes a family fund. Failure to this between it will be a great, great challenge. I'm one person who, I may be wrong on this, I advocate for individuality in the marriage.
Yeah.
Kindly, can you have your own bank account? Kindly share with me your PIN number if you want. Kindly let me know where those accounts are. And let me, maybe if you want to share who the next of kin is, kindly share. We are in this particular marriage together. I need to be aware.
Yeah.
And there has to be boundaries. Within this particular marriage, when we need to manage our in-laws, we need to be self-sustaining as an individual.
Yes.
Are you left with some money that I call me? If I want to buy my mother a shoe, if I want to buy my mother a dress, I am not deprived of. I can do it. Because since my wife became my wife, she did not cease to be somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
Right? To be somebody's sister.
Very true.
So we have to also make sure that spouse you have in your house is actually functional within the marriage frontier and also within the in-law frontier, i.e., how much do we contribute in the functions of our in-laws?
Yeah.
And it should cut across. If on terms of debts, we actually contribute 5,000, kindly let's adhere to that.
Yeah.
Such that we come up with communication and in a way that the way we do things, such that my mother does not pass on, we go there with 100.
Yeah.
Your mother pass on, we go there with 20.
Yes.
No, there has to be a clear way of doing things. And This one for me is functionability. Make sure that you leave somebody space to actually relate with their in-laws, because the same in-laws are very close to us. If this particular family would actually experience some challenges in terms of health, in terms of they need the in-laws, possibly they come first before even your friends come. And if when your friends come, they have some limits.
Okay.
But these particular in-laws, they need to know their boundaries very well. How close can they come? And how far can they stay from this particular marriage? Because in-laws, truth be told, they have broken the marriages. In-laws on the same time have actually made the marriage really thrive. Because I remember very well, for me, when I went into that particular family, there is an auntie and a father on the other side. They really brought me close to them, and I really feel part of that particular family.
Okay.
They created an environment where I feel part of that particular family.
I love that.
And for me, individuals who, especially as in-laws also, we need to understand that also we need to create space for them. At the same time, we need to be close to them, and the way we can support them in terms of them, this particular marriage, being able to fulfill its roles and responsibility, because a marriage has its role and responsibility on different levels. We have the couple subsystem. What are the roles and what are the responsibility within the couple? You, the two of you, that system.
Okay.
Before you become parents, the two of you, you have your roles at different subsystems within the particular society. If you're not aware and you don't continue building capacity, marriage is one thing that you're given a certificate to start practicing before you
yes.
It's actually a tragedy.
I want to take you back to the whole issue of just communication and just because you've married this woman, she does not cease to be somebody's sister and somebody's daughter. Because sometimes I find that for the husband, because sasa umekuwa wetu, we focus more on my side. Situations where the husband doesn't even allow the wife to visit the parents, to interact with her siblings, because I married you, now you belong on this side. Kule ulitoka. Hata siku ya harusi ulipewa kitanda na mattress. Na suitcase. That signifies you left. So, wachana na hao watu, now we build on relationships on this side. I don't know what your thoughts are on that kind of thinking.
My thought is this, I need my wife psychologically sane.
Yeah.
And psychological well-being is a need for survival. You can have food but lack appetite.
Yeah.
You can have clothes but fail to wear them nicely.
Yes.
And you can have a very good, expensive, in terms of a house, a magnificent one, and with a very expensive bed. When you go there as a spouse, you lack sleep.
Yeah.
So psychological well-being is a need for survival. I need my wife to be psychologically okay. Part of her psychological well-being is so much anchored on her family of origin.
Yeah.
If she has the blessings, if she's supported, if those brothers of hers and sisters can actually visit her and possibly create space for her to be a wife, to be somebody's sister, to be somebody's brother, as long as it does not threaten this particular institution called marriage. For me, I say, she did not cease. I did not cease to be somebody's son, to be somebody's brother and sister. We need to maintain each other's psychological well-being, because believe you me, those are the people you know more. Those are the people you have shared pain. Those are the people you will open up to. Those are the people who will actually, especially in the African culture, or if there are issues in the family, the person I hold so dearly who should sort this particular issue is the father. Father on different side. If I have issues with my wife, before, yes, there is the best couple, but at the family level, the father is a chief justice. The father is the chief justice.
Yes.
So being a chief justice, how you have to maintain that relationship with your family of origin. Because believe you me, some things can go haywire. Who will you be left with? You cut the links with your family of origin. It plays a very important part, because I remember even my children, they're able to visit my wife's mother and father on the other side. And they would go there for a week. They know them. They are very, very important in their lives, and they play a very important role. On the other side, They will go and visit my mother and my father, and they are very okay. My wife will go with them, and possibly I can drop them, pick them.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's a reality. You can never run away from them. They form part of you. They know your history. They remind you where you're coming from, how you were brought up. So for me, it is my role to maintain the psychological well-being of my wife, i.e. maintaining her relationship. Yes, as long as these relationships are functional. Because we have a problem in these in-laws that we are seeing friends. If as a husband you're choosing your wife friends or in-laws who to relate with or not who to relate with, kindly you are surpassing your boundaries.
That is
if my wife would actually determine
yes,
who in-law should actually come into our house, and if she has to choose who to come and who not to come, she's surpassing her boundaries. We should discuss and actually share. Your brother, when he comes here, he is not able to carry himself with decorum and respect that we as a family have established. Therefore, kindly communicate to your brother, kindly communicate to your cousin that in this particular home, there are boundaries, there are rules and regulations, there is a way we do things.
I like
and
that.
It is me to communicate to my brother. It is not her to communicate to my brother.
That's true.
In a functional marriage, in a functional relationship, it is me to handle issues to do with my brother, my sister, my cousins, and it is her to actually sort the issues from the other side to make sure that I am not seen as an intruder, I'm not seen as a dictator, I'm not seen as the bad one. And if things have to be done, kindly let's do things in a way that it adds value to the two couple, to the family, and also to their family of origin.
And I've seen that when you do that, even your family members gain a respect for you as a couple, because now they begin to see the two of you as one unit, speaking with one voice. It's the Relationship Clinic on Family TV and Family Radio 316, how to deal with your in-laws, how to build better relationships with your in-laws. That's what we're talking about today. Gregory, I was just thinking another issue that was big for me when I was growing up, and sometimes it becomes an issue today. For our parents back in the day, it was not really a big issue. It's the issue of hosting relatives. I remember growing up, there was always a relative we were living with, a cousin, an uncle. Sijui huyu ni mtoto wa nani wa nani wa nani. And it was never an issue. But today it becomes an issue because also life has changed. And you have those relatives who just pop in like popcorn. And they don't say when they are going to leave. They came visiting last month and they're still here, and it becomes a conflict between you and your spouse, because how do you deal with that?
Thank you so much. In Africa, we are more of, we live as a community.
Yes.
And it's quite okay to actually have a discussion on this in terms of where are we in terms of space and what is our capacity. And for me, I said communication is key in any functional marriage. If you cannot communicate your authentic self, you are true you, believe you me, it still remains a challenge. Yes, these in-laws will come, my brothers, sisters would come, but it is very, very important to actually have a conversation about it. Excuse me, my brother wants to come and study from Nairobi University or from whatever college that you possibly he wants. And I'm of the idea, since we have an extra room here, we can host him. It is very good to actually share, but don't wait until you're seeing your brother with the luggage coming and be there. It has to be very clear in terms of the bills, in terms of this particular house. What is the role? What is the responsibility? What do we expect him to do? And there should be a family meeting. This particular person should be met by the two of you. If it is my wife's brother, can my wife communicate when I'm there? For me to hear, for me to know these things have been communicated. Because believe me, we live in a symbiotic kind of relationship. There are some things we'll pick from they are not badly off 100%. There are some good things about our in-laws. So we should not actually create a wall not to actually experience the good things from our in-laws because we have an aspect of fear. So I think for me, it is actually very good to actually, first of all, as a couple, kindly can you share? And if it is not possible, can it be communicated? I am sorry, we are not able to host you in our house. because of 1, 2, 3 things.
Yeah.
And the option that we create for you, kindly look for a house we can afford maybe 2,500 or we can afford 3,000, and we'll be able to support you on that level. But there should be communication. If an in-law is coming, kindly let us communicate. If we have a sick parent and this sick parent needs actually to come and live with us, kindly communicate to your wife, kindly communicate to your husband. Your husband should not actually be seeing your parent there and he's not actually in the picture of what is happening. If they are coming for a clinic, maybe for a weekend, they are coming for a clinic, maybe for a week, kindly let your spouse know. In the next 1 week, mom will be here because test will be run at a specific hospital. Kindly let me know, just to know how to carry myself and possibly how to plan about my family. Maybe I have a surprise visit. I have a surprise dinner for you guys. Now this one limits me. So I think for me, it's communication. Communication is key.
Okay.
And if you make a deliberate decision that this particular thing is not possible, it is not me as your wife or as your husband to communicate to your people. It is you as a wife to communicate to your family that they should know that possibly it is not possible because from the family level we are not able to do this. However, we should also be flexible enough because like our children, they need their cousins to come and be there as long as we really take care of our children. If they are of the same age, it's okay. If you are able to actually know how these cousins have been brought up, what are the values and the principles they've actually ascribed to, we can actually allow that pollination of ideas. You will see your children taking care, taking charge, creating space within the family gathering, etc. So for me, there needs to be a very clear boundary. At the same time, we should not limit the better things from our spouse, from our in-laws. Allow me to share something on culture. Being in Africa, culture and boundaries have a certain way of relating. I.e., if I'm the firstborn in the family, there is a way that I participate in the family affairs and within my in-laws' family affairs. Where is my wife? If my wife a lastborn, when we go there as a lastborn, we need to be aware of the birth order. Because the seniors will actually see us as babies. So how should we relate with him? Should we relate with him the way we have related with our young sister? Because maybe the difference between the firstborn and the lastborn, who maybe I have married, is maybe clean 15 to 20 years. How will they relate with me? Do they now carry me on the pedestal of my wife that possibly this gentleman has married our lastborn? So yeye na lastborn wako pamoja. As a marriage, as a couple, you have to negotiate for your space in your family of origin, different spaces in your family of origin. Like when I visit the other family and there are deliberations that need to be done, I will always make sure for consensus. Let everybody talk. Yes, we are the firstborn. I'm the firstborn from my family, and she's the firstborn from her family. So when we come, the two of us, are we able to create space for our brothers and sisters to feel they are part of the family? In that we have the lastborn, we are able to actually build her capacity. Because for me, this particular family has to create a lot of warmth for everyone. I.e., in case we would need help, our house help has actually agreed to disappear, and maybe there is a sister of mine who can actually come in temporarily. How is she coming in? Who will she be communicating to? Because yes, you are my sister. However, when it comes to roles and roles in this particular family, the kitchen my wife holds. So kindly, can you talk to her? And if there are issues, is it possible that you can handle my sister? Or if you cannot handle, let us stay like that. Let us handle our own challenges, because also our brothers and sisters need to mature up to actually know this is my brother's wife. I need to accord her respect. This is my brother's, this is my sister's husband. I need to accord him respects that he deserves. Because believe you me, my sister's life is actually on a different pedestal. He's married, and I need to actually respect that particular marriage. Another very important thing I'm saying, the demise of one of
There's a
It's
question
actually
first.
hurting us a lot as a family.
There's a question before we get to that, because I don't want us to run out of time without touching on this question. Somebody is asking
Yes.
how to deal with their mother-in-law, because the scenario is this: they are living in the family house. This is the family house in the city, but the parents located to Geshagi. But now every time the mother comes to visit, it's like she wants to run the house, because supposedly in her mind, this was her house. And so the wife is saying she finds that it's always like a competition whenever the mother-in-law is visiting. Both of them are trying to appease the husband, so to speak. And the mother wants to run the home, but her time is past. And the wife is feeling, your time is past, this is now my time. How do you handle a situation like that? Because the mother is still feeling, but this is my house anyway.
I hold that the couple needed to negotiate for their space. I.e. their space, a space where they can know this is our home. And they need to have a discussion.
Okay.
And this discussion needs to be agreed. How do we resolve this? When your mother is here, I feel that my space is limited. Do we really rent out this house? And whenever she's coming, she comes to our own home, to a home that she understands this is my home and everything. Because we have to empower each other as a couple. I.e., if my wife is not comfortable with a certain aspect in my family of origin, I need to see how I can sort it. Because if I don't sort it, one, it will cause psychological disturbance. The lady who is asking that question, she's actually psychologically disturbed. She does not feel that she has the ownership. She can make a decision on that particular house, what they will eat, how they will stay, and everything. Because believe you me, we have to learn to compromise. And if this compromise goes too far, you lose who you are. You lose that aspect of yourself. So for me, I think this particular lady who is asking this question needs to have a candid conversation with the husband and share what she is feeling. Then I guess the husband has to mature up and actually make a decision. You're my mother, yes, I cannot do without you, but also there is my wife here who I cannot do without. And for me to actually resolve this particular issue, I am telling you, ma'am, thank you for actually providing me this particular house, but we want to convert this house into money. We want somebody else to stay here because we need to create our own space. Because believe you me, before you ask this question, there is an aspect that is only really hurting us as a society. The demise of one of the partners. And there was no clear boundaries of who this woman is. Kindly can we empower each other such that if I'm not there today, my wife has control over the resources, has control over the issues that we have actually come and built together. Because our in-laws are turning out to be a problem in our flesh. My wife will be told, we have educated this particular gentleman. She has her children there, our children there, and everything is taken by these in-laws. Basically, we have to empower each other, and you understand as a spouse, one day you will not be there. How will your wife be? So it has to be 360 empowerment. Who is the next of kin of your resources? There needs to be a clear boundary. Who, if you're seeking advice, who can influence this particular marriage? There has to be a clear boundary between who can come until where. And this is need to be held by individuals who have matured enough and they have decided to become partners, to accompany each other, not to compete, to accompany each other and complement each other, and to agree to grow. Believe you me, majority of the marriages why they have problems. My marriage institution itself is pure and clean issues. But the problem is the people who have decided to be in this particular marriage. My therapy sessions, I know the first thing that I want to look is the functionability of the self. You married when you are 30, are you functional? 40 years come, are you functional? 50 years come, are you functional? 60 years come, are you functional? As a person. Because the best gift you can give your spouse is the gift of a self that is functional. Such that you have social skills as a man. You don't meet your wife seated there eating, and you have to sit down there and possibly request for water to actually wash your hands while the sink is actually a walking distance. We need to mature up and become people. Before I become a husband, I'm a human being. Before this lady becomes a wife, she's a human being. Can we at one level?
Wow.
because nobody wrote an application to be born a man or a woman. We only found ourselves here.
Yes.
Kindly, can we become companions of our partners?
Yeah. Okay.
Because when we are pressed, we say, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And when we are pressed, we say, I'm a man.
Yeah.
So it's a defense mechanism.
Yes.
It's a defense mechanism. We use our gender as defense mechanism. But in a marriage, kindly let us mature up enough to understand that we have to take care of the psychological well-being of our spouses.
Yeah.
Then also on the wider aspect of our in-laws, because we cannot do without them. They are part of us, and they remain part of us.
Okay. Looking at my clock, we have like 2 minutes remaining. Maybe you can mention something concerning our children and our in-laws, because they're also part of this family. And the reason I'm asking that is there's an interesting article in the papers yesterday where this man stopped a wedding because apparently the groom and the bride are both his children. So, yeah, he had children with different women and they had no idea. So what's the place of the in-laws where our children are concerned? You have about a minute and a half for that, and then we wrap up.
Thank you so much. Children and the in-laws, it's very, very, very important also as an in-law, and to understand that I have a say and I have my limits as an in-law. And for me to actually understand within my marriage, the precepts of parenting are very clear. Yeah. What do we do here and what don't we do here? For me, it's very, 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 very important. Dictating, for me, all the foundation is within here. And learn the culture of the other person, learn where they are coming from, learn who they are, for you to actually know how to actually discuss these things way beyond. But in a very functional marriage, 1 is functionability of an individual. Yes. 2 is communication. 3 is boundaries. 4 is emotional connectedness. Wow. Without these 4 principles, guys are loitering. They are loitering in that particular institution we are calling marriage. Yes. Wow. Yes. So,
Gregory, asante sana. Our time, unfortunately, is far gone, and we have to wrap it up. It's interesting how, when you have such an engaging discussion, an hour seems like 15 minutes, and it's over. Thank you for availing yourself. We definitely have to call on you again, because this has been very engaging, and I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciated.
Awesome. That's all the time we've had for the Relationship Clinic today. I hope you've gotten some tips on how to better engage and relate with your in-laws. I love the pointers that we have been given today, and I love the fact that our guest today began with me as an individual. Before we even talk about my in-laws, it has to begin with me and what's happening on the inside of me.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.